We used to spend hours talking about guitars, new ones, of course, but mostly vintage. There's something special about them. They have their own soul, their own spirit. But what about the amps? I play in a few live bands, and for most gigs, I stick with my trusty 1970s Fender Vibrolux Reverb. It's reliable, it sounds incredible, and it just works. But there's one special amp I always keep in my back pocket. I rarely use it live, but it's perfect for recording, and this is my old Fender Princeton. I think it was Keith Richards who once said, "The smaller the amp, the bigger the sound." And there he is, my 1957 Fender Princeton. I picked it up about 20 years ago and it's still one of my favorite amps. It's tiny, only 4 watts, and actually the same cabinet size Fender later used for the Blues Junior. Well, the amp was built at a lower price point to make it attractive for students. Maybe they kept the size because it's so convenient and portable. Now at 4 watts, it's definitely not a live amp, it's simply not loud enough on stage. But in the studio, it's a killer recording amp. I did swap the speaker at some point, the original literally rotted away, and I replaced it with a Jensen 8-inch. We're dealing with a classic 5F2 circuit, just 3 tubes, 1 preamp, 1 rectifier, 1 power tube, 1 tone control, 1 volume control, and that's pretty much it. But that simplicity is exactly what makes it a vintage-style sound machine. 4 watts aren't enough for a live setting. I tried it a few times and it was disappointing. It's almost impossible to get a pure, clean sound without unwanted overdrive, even at lower volumes. And playing it at home, well, I live in Hamburg in a flat and you want to keep your neighbors in mind. The amp seems to have one volume level where it truly shines. At that sweet spot, it's almost clean with just a touch of crunch and a little bite when you dig in. Absolutely stunning. The tricky part is you can't really control when that level is reached. Just let the amp do its thing and it rewards you. That's what makes it perfect for recording. Just mic it up and the amp delivers the perfect balance between clean and crunch. It's effortless and sounds amazing. I once used it on a recording session for a TV commercial, and after a few minutes of sound check, I asked if something was wrong, and the engineer said, "No, absolutely not. I was done within 5 seconds, but I just wanted to enjoy the sound of the amp a little bit longer." As you can see, the Princeton and the Blues Junior are lookalikes. But what else do they have in common? Well, to be honest, not much. The electronics are completely different. The Princeton is hand-wired and really delivers this old, typical 50s sound. It's much warmer than most of the modern amps, without losing any of its sparkle or brightness. It's the perfect rock and roll sound, but it's also amazing for jazz. Rudy van Gelder used its big brother, the Tweed Deluxe, in his famous Hackensack, New Jersey studio. And so many iconic jazz recordings were brought into life with this very amp. Think of Kenny Burrell, Midnight Blue, Grant Green, Idle Moments, Pat Martino, El Hombre, to name just a few. The Princeton carries this specific clarity, softness, and brightness. Its downside, well, because of its circuit, it sometimes can sound a little bit fuzzy when you crank it up. The Deluxe is the better overdrive amp. I like the Princeton best from clean to light crunch. But does it really sound that big? Well, back in the day, studios were much smaller and the whole band recorded in one single room live. And nobody wanted to hear a huge amp blasting noise. So guitarists brought small amps and pushed them to the sweet spot and let the studio do the rest. And a small amp driven hard almost always sounds bigger and fatter than a big amp running at low volume. If you don't believe it, try this. A simple experiment. Grab a guitar, maybe your favorite guitar, and a tube amp, that's important, a tube amp, and something to record with, or nothing fancy. Turn your guitar volume to 10 and set the amp volume around 2 to 3. Play and record a bit. Now reverse it. Set the amp to 6 or 8 and roll your guitar's volume back until you get the same loudness as before. Record again. Just listen carefully. You will hear the difference immediately. The amp really needs that power boost to deliver, even at the same overall volume. If you want to hear a demo on that, click here. I made a video on this topic. So this is what small amps are great for. So this was a little bit of a review or demo of one of my favorite amps. If you might get the opportunity to get one of those, you really should grab it. You won't regret it. This is it for today. Thanks for joining me until the end. That really means a lot to me. If you like this content, please hit subscribe. That really gives good karma. Stay tuned. See you next time.